And hello. It is me, that D-O-G-G, and welcome, one and all, to the award-winning, Absolutely Football podcast. And there's a football fellow. You all know his name, and the papers tell us he's in the Hall of Fame. Wherever he goes, he'll be all the rage, because he's a new sensation of the age. Dressed in red, white, and blue, he's World Cup Willie. We all love him too. World Cup Willie. He's as tough as a lion and will never give up. That's why Willie is our favourite for the cup. Willie, everyone's favourite for the cup. It's just for all my English followers there. That was your 1966 World Cup winning song. World Cup Willie. And what a start to the show and an indication of what I shall be talking all evening. But fortunately, it's not just me talking to Willie. It is. I've got lots of friends with me this evening, and let's start with a friend I haven't seen in a while, Sir Lucas. Where have you been, buddy?
Yeah, it has been a while. Sorry, I don't know. Actually, it feels like the season ended ages ago, and everyone's just been involved in the Euros in some shape or capacity. But yeah, like I mentioned in the chat, I got a cinema membership, and on Mondays I get free extra tickets. Like my Mondays, I've literally just been in the cinema if I'm not watching Euros. So watching everything under the sun.
But have you seen Inside Out now? Bet you've seen that as well.
I saw that last week? Yeah, last week. I saw that.
How many times did you cry?
I was this close.
I spent a good hour. In tears.
Best film I've seen this year, that one. It's brilliant.
It is quite. Do you know what? As a father of a teenage girl, it was like so poignant all the way through. I was breaking down like a big wuss all the way through. But it's not just me and box office Lucas. It is Anthony. What? Oh, hey, lad.
How are you, lad? Yeah, I cried once at that actually, and the first one. Cried my eyes out the first one. So we're all men here.
It's got to be done, mate. Disney films, I cry in all Disney films.
Pixar just gets you, doesn't it? Everything just gets you right there.
Wreck-It Ralph, mate. Wreck-It Ralph ruined me. I was done. Yeah. But how have you been? How are you?
Good. I'm really good, actually. Yeah. I've been a little bit under the weather with an illness that I can't quite shake off. Apart from that, I'm brilliant. Yeah, spot on. How are you?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'll give everyone the heads up now. I pulled my back yesterday, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be on this evening, so I spent the day on the floor. But I managed to get up and move around. So if it looks like I'm struggling to have a crap at any point, it's not that. It's just I can't move. My facilities are a little bit limited this evening. But talking of a man who doesn't have any limited facilities at all, a man with no limit, he is limitless. Ben, how are you this evening?
Very well, thank you, sir. Yeah, I've just come back from the weekend of being involved with the championship. So, yeah, sort of now back to reality, really. So now I've got to watch it like everyone else back here. But yeah, it's going to take a bit now to replicate the atmosphere that was out there in Berlin. So yeah, no, it's great to be back on here tonight to talk.
Sorry to be a letdown, Ben.
Not at all. No,
do you know what?
It's like nice to have a bit of normality.
You'll have to watch the game in your garden, invite all your neighbours round and everything. Just come on, just shout in the garden, please.
Taking the numbers of all the guys I was watching it in the bar with, we're getting all back the same vibe. Everything's got to stay the same now, hasn't it? Like, I've got to wear exactly the same as what I did for that quarter-final game, because that's the only way we're going to win.
To be fair, yeah, it was what a game. We'll get into that in a minute. But let's talk Mr. Luke in the chat. He didn't expect World Cup Willie from England, or he didn't expect the performance. Either way, I always expect a bit of Willie from England. Cap Alid, he's saying good evening from sunny Lancashire. And yes, I'm showing some consolidation, because that's what it's all about. We're all one team here. And Simon's there from a very wet Western Supermare, and Sean is just saying big willies. Indeed. And talking of big willies, then England just scraping through. I mean, who wants to be the first one to give us a bit of a, I was going to say a bashing of the big willies, but that's not terminology that I'm sort of down with these earlier. I tell you what, Ben, give us, first of all, let us know how England won, Switzerland won, scraping through on penalties. How did that one make you feel?
I mean, it was obviously again relief, that we'd done it, because I think at 75 minutes when Embolo scores, you think it's happening again. Like just I would say it would have been the same vibes as Iceland, because Switzerland are a good side at the end of the day. And to be fair, I think when this scored, we all thought in the bar I was watching it in Germany, we all thought that was it. Like again, but this team continued. Regardless of how bad it's been, performance-wise, they just never know when they're beaten. And, you have to say a massive fair play to the lads for picking themselves up, because the amount of pressure they would have been under after conceding that goal, thinking we've only got 15 minutes left to save ourselves. And then you really wanted us to get it back in the game by Bukayo Saka. I mean, whether it was a shot or not, whether he was trying to play a low ball in, it doesn't matter. It hit the sweet spot inside of the post and goes in. And then we suddenly upped the gear, and then penalties happen. And I don't know. I think everyone just got that obviously in the back of your head. You think of the Italy game a few years ago, and you think, oh God, here we go again. But as soon as Cole Palmer sort of got it up and running, you thought, oh, actually, maybe this might have Colombia vibes to it. And as soon as Jordan makes the first save, you do get that confidence that it is maybe our time. And I'll tell you what, 5 fantastic penalties they were. Like, that was a team with no fear at all. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, what a pen to win it. And absolute scenes it were in Germany. Like, it's just absolutely incredible, to be involved in that. And then, seeing everyone jumping on each other, like, just, it's incredible the fact that, look, we were expected to win on paper, but like, to get him into the last 4 of this competition again, like, is a great achievement. So we've got to enjoy it while it lasts, because we've got another big one on Wednesday now.
I don't know. I've got to enjoy the positivity about England. Look at that! What a man! I mean, I'm thinking, bring us back down to earth, Lucas. You're always with a real view of things. What was your view of the game?
To be fair, it was a lot better than England's previous performances. I think the shift in formation was long overdue. They look a lot more fluid with a back 5. And playing Foden in his natural position, he suddenly was one of our better players on the night. Shock. Absolute shock. Outside of that, there's still, I mean, it was a pretty even game. We always knew it was going to be against Switzerland. Like, that was a very even game. It could have gone either way. So I don't think England are still, of the remaining teams, I mean, Netherlands aren't that great either, but between France and Spain, I don't think England are better than them at the moment. I haven't shown anything that they're going to beat those 2 teams. But you never know in a tournament. Like, you got to be in it to win it. So if they can improve the performance in Switzerland against Netherlands, they will definitely go through. If they play at a better level than what they did, I think they will. But Netherlands have got some weapons, man. Like, Gakpo is on route for the Golden Boot. I know we're going to get onto Netherlands in a second. And Weghorst, fucking hell, I feel like every time he comes on, a goal is just going to happen. So, yeah, they got to be sharp. But I wonder what he does. I wonder if he sticks to the back 5 or if he goes back to the 4 now that Guehi's available. I don't know if there's been any leaks. And again, why are there constant leaks on what we're going to play? Like, what the hell? The media just do no favors for this team whatsoever. Like, just in it for themselves. Like, why are you leaking the system so that the opponents can see it 48 hours before we play the game? But yeah, hopefully we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can see some improve and actually grow into the tournament, because that's what you need. By the time we get to the final, we've got some good momentum. Another penalty shootout would not be ideal, to be honest. So I think they've got to make a real statement against Netherlands. But it's an improvement, but it's still pretty dull. And the attacking talent we have there is just being nullified until we go a goal down. We go a goal down, and then suddenly it's like, let's actually unleash these guys. It's really frustrating, because if they actually did that from the beginning, we'd be putting teams to the sword. But as long as you're winning games, you can't really have any complaints. But I just don't see I don't see us getting over the line currently how we're playing. But yeah, happy with the Switzerland one. That is a tough team. They're one of the better teams I've seen so far. So it was good they went through. And again, yeah, as Ben said, the penalty shootout was quality. I did think only, like, if I put my money on it, I thought Palmer and Tony. I was like, Palmer and Tony are definitely going to score. Everyone else I thought was up for debate. But then Saka, I was kind of thinking, he's been taking them for Arsenal all season and really confidently. And he's only missed one. And I think it was the season before against West Ham. And then, yeah, Trent and Bellingham, like Trent in particular, was just, to finish it up was quality. So if it does go to a penalty shootout, I'm very confident we've got some serious penalty takers in there. but so do France. I mean, ours was good, but France's penalty shootout was absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, I think England fans can be confident going into it, but Wednesday's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game.
I mean, were you happy for your Arsenal compadre Saka to have a game that really
what a
sort of must have put to bed some of the heartache from the last tournament, surely.
Yeah, and I think even from the last one, like in the World Cup, he was one of England's most positive players on the wing, and he's been a bit reserved this tournament. I don't know whether it's a tactical setup. He's played very wide and sort of just hugged the line a bit, and I think in that back five, he was able to have a bit more freedom. And then at that point, that's what you need sometimes. When you got players like that, they just need to go, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to shoot. I'm just going to take a shot and see what happens. And he did, and it went in. So if you can get Saka to perform like that, he's a real weapon for that team, amongst other ones. So yeah, very happy for him.
He's good. I mean, Anthony, I mean, you've been a bit frustrated with performances so far. Do you concur with the chaps that a better performance for you? And how are your confidence levels after that?
Oh yeah, it was a lot better, but bear in mind the barometer wasn't set very high at all, was it? You know what I mean? It couldn't have got any worse. But yeah, I mean, especially in the first half, though, we looked very, very good. And then I just think again with Southgate, it took a little bit too long to change things. It took them to score, didn't it, for him to like really, you know, get on and change things. I thought maybe in say the 50th, 55th minute or something to bring Cole Palmer on, we'd probably win that game quite easily, to be honest. I thought they did not know how to cope with our change. But, you know, the thing is, we still haven't played well, I would say, in this tournament, and we're in the semi-finals. You know, you look at the likes of Germany, who have been outstanding, Turkey, who have been absolutely outstanding. They're going home, you know, and we're still in it. So, you know, you've got to take those positives. And like I said, I mean, Foden, I thought Foden was absolutely outstanding, you know, and this has been mentioned before. Surprise, surprise, put him in the number 10. He plays like a number 10, doesn't he?
You play a 10 in a 10 position, isn't it? It's just
bizarre, who would have thought? Isn't it? Who would have thought? But yeah, I thought Luke Shaw, when he came on, give us that, you know, have a left-sided player playing on the left side again, as we said. You know, instead of putting square pegs in round holes, we've got a proper left-sided wing back playing, and we just looked a lot more fluid as well. You know, I mean, for me, I think the only change I would make on Wednesday is I would find a way to get Cole Palmer in that side. I just think we're a better team when he's in it. You know, I would imagine they'll still play as a 3. I would imagine maybe Guy comes in for Konza, even though I thought Konza was superb. I think Guy's just probably like kind of let himself have that start because he's had such a good tournament. But yeah, like I say, we're still in, and just echo both of them. All 5 of our penalties were absolutely outstanding, and it's coming from 38 years of seeing Sunderland lose nearly every penalty shootout we're being in, seeing England lose nearly every penalty shootout we're being in. You know, to be confident at penalties is not English. But I thought,
I think I saw somewhere they've won 4. I think there's been 4 penalty shootouts England have won ever, apparently. Yeah. So, which is just bizarre. I mean, you mentioned the formation. I mean, Kevin in the chat living a bit of Judy B, and that's I was going to come to the formation. Foden playing as a 10 plays well as a 10. Bellingham playing in his natural position plays well in his natural position. If you want to fit Cole Palmer in, what do you do? Drop Harry Kane maybe, because he's been playing like me.
The way he's playing, yeah. I don't think he will by any stretch of the imagination, but he is not fit, is he? You know, he's obviously come into this tournament with it. He had a back injury, didn't he, for Munich at the back end of their season, and you can just he just does not look fit. He keeps and what needed to happen in that game, we had 2 10s playing, so you expect Harry Kane to stay up front, and then that's what kind of put us under pressure a little bit in that second. He kept on coming deep, and we had nobody to hit. And I think it was Alan Shearer, wasn't it, who said in during the game that we've got nobody at all up front. Pickford was playing, you know, he's like, you know, balls out from the back, you know, going up top, and there was nobody there, and it was just literally bringing pressure on. So for a way to get Palmer in, possibly do that, but I mean, he could possibly play right wing back, maybe, you know, and you know his attacking prowess is unbelievable anyway. But I don't know. I would just find a way to get him in because I think he's been out every time he's come on. I think he's been outstanding. I really do.
I gotta be honest. For me, I'm still one to sort of fit Bellingham in that central role next to Declan Rice, and then you can bring a Cole Palmer in that position, and that just makes a bit more sense to me because it makes more sense to the position that Bellingham's played.
Yeah, and have like
Madrid.
Foden in the 10 and put Palmer on the left or something along those lines.
Well,
Yeah,
dude,
that
Then
would work.
you have to drop Mainu, who's probably been
yeah,
he's been better than Rice.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he had another good
It's
game,
tricky,
didn't he?
isn't
On the problem is with
I-
Mainu, he has really good games, but when both times where we've needed to change it, they've took Mainu off, and the
Yeah.
changes worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not on Mainu, I don't think, but like I say, both times, you know, they made the triple subs in after they scored. Mainu came off. We automatically looked better. We scored straight away, and then obviously against Slovakia, we took Mainu off. And then we scored about 5 minutes after that, which isn't Mainu's fault, to be fair. But
I think because he froze on a load of attackers, and at one point you've got Eze playing right back, Palmer playing left back, Saka playing it's very messy and it's just pure attack. I don't know. I agree with the Kane thing. I think he is definitely injured. He can't run. He generally can't run, which also means why the hell is he still dropping deep if he can't get back in the box? How many times did Saka get to the byline and put a great pass into the danger area, and Kane's just standing there oblivious to it? And it's I don't know. He's undroppable because he's the captain and it's Harry Kane. You know, he's a great footballer, but at some point you've got to make a call. And I think it was good to take him off then, but at some point you've got to take him off and look, it's the 60th minute, mate. You're not doing anything. Ivan Toney looks way hungrier and a better suited footballer to what we're trying to do with the other two, because he'll stay in the box and he offers that physical presence. So yeah, there's options too. But I also think Bellingham's been pretty poor in terms of but that might be how we're using him. I think overall he's just not contributing to the game. But you know, he pops up with a great goal. He was absolutely awful in that game. I don't care. The Slovenia one, he was the worst player on the pitch, and then he scored the goal to get us back into pure Real Madrid genetics there, isn't it? Just does nothing all game, scores the goal. So I think he's got to make some calls to make. If Bellingham doesn't perform, take him off. If Kane doesn't perform, take him off. We've got the luxury of having such a good bench that you can do it.
I know. That's
that bench is a joke.
It is. It's still the thing that confuses me the most. Is there's so many good players attackingly, defensively, and trying to keep solid. It's not a fabulous squad, but attacking, which is what the football seems to be revolving around at the moment, attacking football, is just superbly. It just doesn't want to do it. I mean, yeah. What were you going to say? Oh, somebody was going to say something.
I was just going to say the last thing is the only other concern I have is when we do concede. This is where I think it just comes back to Southgate again. Is those subs are not tactical, because it's worked once and he's gone, just do it again, even though the opponent's different. He's gone, yeah, just throw Eze and Palmer on now. That's his go-to when we concede. And you can tell it's not tactical because there is no tactics when they're on the pitch. They're all just kind of doing their own thing, which is why it works, because they're such brilliant footballers. But they're playing out of position. There's no, the transition is effective, but there's no positional awareness whatsoever. With one centre-back on, or one defender at one point in the last game. And what does concern me is we haven't played anyone with a really good counter-attacking setup. Even the smaller teams like Georgia, Turkey, very effective counter-attacking teams. I say even Netherlands are as well. But the ones who played in Slovenia, not really. Switzerland, not really. They haven't countered the whole tournament. They're possession dominant team. So what concerns me is if we're now playing Netherlands, and I'd say Spain not so much, but they have got some quick wingers. France definitely. Netherlands and France I think are a concern, because if we play the same gung-ho football and we leave Declan Rice and John Stones back or something as the only, or just John Stones back, and you've got Mbappe running at Eze or Palmer and expecting them to defend against him, we're going to get destroyed. We're going to get destroyed. A France will destroy us if we have to do that. If we go a goal down and he does those subs, we get destroyed on the counter. Dembele, Mbappe, we get absolutely obliterated. So it's not going to work. Same with, I think, with Spain. If Yamal is there, Dani Olmo, these guys are quick and great finishers and ready for it. So, I think he's not going to, but he needs a different option for when we go down, or if we're in that situation and we need a goal, then just throw Eze and Palmer on and see what happens. Because we're going to get punished eventually.
I mean, on the Kane chat, I mean, Simon's saying if he's Tony or Watkins and they're not starting on, what the hell's going on? Which it's one of them. I could live with if Southgate hadn't gone, we're picking form players. They've got form players which form into the tournament. That's right, yeah. But Kane's form in the tournament. If he wasn't playing, I don't think I would have noticed at all. And Freewater and Gordon as well. I mean,
Sounds like
somebody...
solicitors, doesn't it? Freewater and Gordon.
If you had an accident in the last 3 years, since we appointed Gareth Southgate. I mean, it's Trent being brought on. I mean, if you follow all the Liverpool chat, as I do as a Liverpool fan, there was a lot of sort of upset over the fact that how he's been used so far, out of position, scapegoated for everything, then brought in sort of tail end of the game, and the 5th penalty, almost like someone's waiting to shit all over him. But I mean, Ben, what watching it out there for you? Do you think he knows what he's doing with these players? Do you think this is a squad too good for Southgate to manage, or is it just difficult to manage for anyone?
It's a bit of both, I think. And I mean, you have to look at the fact that the quality we've got, and as Lucas was saying, even Anne as well was saying, you've got to find a way of getting Cole Palmer in that team, because it might be biased to me because me, Chelsea, my Premier League club, I love watching him. He's contributed to 30 odd goals last year. But that's the thing. I thought the difference was that with the players that he brought on after we conceded, they're all like streetwise players. They play football like they're still like in a park with their mates, which is what we needed a little bit. Someone to bring that little bit of creativity, bit of bravery. That was the main thing. As soon as Palmer was getting the ball, he was running at him, trying to cut inside, trying to whip balls into the box, not always going backwards in that. And as we said, look, the performance was better than the Slovakia game. We did have a lot more control of the ball. I didn't really think they opened us up too much, Switzerland. But I mean, it's not to say that we didn't really open them up. But in terms of our, intent, it did look a lot better. But that's the thing. Like, if you try playing these sort of changes, Lucas was saying about making these changes against maybe one of the better sides in the competition, then you are going to get punished. It's not going to work every single time. We've been very fortunate that we played 2, on paper, mediocre sides. I mean, Switzerland are a good side. Let's get that clear. They are a good side, but they're not Netherlands. They're not France. They're not Spain. So, it's not going to work every time, because you come up against France or Spain, you're coming up against world-class players, and it could be completely different. But I think it's a case of, it's just the same as we've been saying the whole tournament. It's just him being reactive to things, Southgate. You think if we bring on Palmer or Eze, 15, 20 minutes early when it wasn't going our way, we could tell after about 65, 70 minutes that it wasn't working. We weren't getting anywhere near them. And then suddenly, as soon as they score, obviously, we knew Switzerland would probably sit back, but we looked much more intense, go forward and actually try, and get balls into the box and make an issue of it. And that's the thing. And then obviously Saka pulls out a moment of magic, which we needed, just by showing a little bit of bravery. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I think we were a little bit exposed at times in extra time, like I said, because we've had loads of tackles in the pitch. You're trying to settle back, and obviously that's probably why they brought Trent on, not just obviously for penalties, but just to see the game out of it, to try and get it to penalties, because extra time was not really going anyone's way, to be honest. Obviously, apart from Rice's chance, maybe it was a good save from Sommer. Wasn't really too much to think about. But again, we always say when you go to extra time, you're thinking about penalties straight away. So the fact is that they brought in a couple of players, and to be fair, look, it works either way. When you bring on players just for penalties, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Obviously, in the final, it didn't work. We brought on 2 players to take penalties. They both missed, and obviously we brought on a couple of players to help take penalties, and they were all quality penalties. Obviously, Tony, we know his record anyway. It's a fabulous penalty, considering that he nearly gave me a heart attack just with the side. And then obviously Trent, puts on the top corner, and I'm so pleased for him, because like you said, I think the treatment he's probably had in this squad probably has been a bit undeserved. He was put into a position where he's not used to it, and he's obviously received a lot of criticism for it, but maybe something that Southgate should have looked at, because he's more. I know he's more naturally right-sided, but obviously it's a defensive issue in that. But then again, if he's worried about the defensive side of things now, why are we putting Kieran Trippier at left wing back when he's a right-footed player? I mean, I said that if Luke Shaw's available, if he's fit, then why is he not playing? That's the thing. It's just you need a natural left footer, and this is why I'm saying we should have probably taken Tyrick Mitchell from Crystal Palace. It's just you wanted a left-sided player, and I think that's the thing I'm looking at. So if I just look at it in that way, think, look, if they're concerned about Trent's defensive frailties, then they should be looking at left wing back, because for me, Trippier does not start the next game. It should be going, look, Luke Shaw made a difference when he come on. Let's go with him, and if he can do it 60 minutes at least, because he's not had a lot of games, if he gets 60 minutes, then that's the thing. Then we can bring someone else on to see, to bring it forward, because we might even be a goal up by a point. So we have something to hold on to. I just think he needs to utilise the squad just a little bit better and just be a little bit more proactive to things, because we can't keep going to this situation where we go a goal down and then suddenly we need, we don't need to bring about 3 or 4 players on. We could get the game done beforehand if we just, show a little bit more. If things aren't going our way, make 1 or 2 changes in key areas that they might change the game. It's as simple as that, I say.
One of my favourite comments we had so far. Ben's such a nice voice and a beautiful face. It's Ben and Lucas. It's just I'm in awe. I'm in awe of some of these people we've got here, and just reminds me of me, old and haggard. So you could be in my gang, mate. Do you know that hit my back arching back there? That's karma. That's just called.
That's what you get. Yeah.
And he's beautiful as well. And Chaos petition for Ben to replace Southgate. Do you know what?
Not a chance.
I was going to have a petition. I was going to say I'd get my nan in to replace Southgate, but she actually died 2 weeks ago. So that's not. Although, to be fair, could it be worse? I mean, for me, as a neutral spectator in this tournament, as I have been, unfortunately, throughout, I want to see England attack a game. I want to see that sort of formation, because I think that's probably the better formation that suits all of the players in the squad that you've got. But I want to see you attack. I want to see England go at again, because those players you've got. Oh, if I was the opposition, it's one of those, like as a Liverpool fan, when we had our season, I sort of 2 or 3 seasons where we are on fire, and you knew every time everybody saw us, they knew it's going to be intense, fast attacking, quality football. And England could, and people were fearing. I'd want to see that from England, where people are fearing playing them and thinking, "Oh shit, these lads are going to have a go at me." But I mean, it's not there. I mean, do you concur? Do you know what I mean?
It's basically like going into a Michelin star restaurant and getting served ham and chips in it. You know what I mean? It's really like you just want someone to just like, even if it's like one of them on the pitch to say, right, let's just, because it just feels like it's like a switch that needs flicking, and then they just all like, give this wonderful attack-minded football. The bother is, and I think the thing is with Gareth South in this tournament as well, he's still kind of going on this kind of like formation of I don't want to concede, and he's happy us winning. He's happy getting 1-0s every week. You know what I mean? He's a defense-minded manager. He's a defender when he was playing, but he is more concerned about not conceding. Whereas a more attack-minded manager would be like, "Why? Who cares?" It's just styles, and that's what Southgate's been with us since he's probably took over. But
and he's a bad manager.
To kind of flip it on the other side of things, though, it has worked. The last 3-4 tournaments that he's had us, we've reached quarterfinal, semi-final. Wait, I got that the wrong way around. But we've made the quarterfinals in all 4 of these tournaments. Yes, the football's not awful. Football is awful, but it's effective. So, I mean,
that's I suspect.
I tell a lie. Actually, one was a final, wasn't a semi-final. He's got us to. I mean, I remember growing up watching, very, very good England sides. 98, for instance. We had a great team. Got knocked out, 2002. Well, was that the World Cup in Brazil, which we should have won. We had the team to win that tournament, and we got knocked out of Brazil. And there's some we haven't even qualified for with very, very good footballers. We're now looking at a second successive semi-final in the Euros. I put us favourites to beat the Dutch. We could be looking at 2 finals in a row, and everyone's just still blaming Southgate for things. Like on Saturday, even though we'd won, apparently people throwing like paper cups at him and throwing beam and all that. It's like, for me, that's not on at all. Your team's with a football match.
Yeah,
I mean, he does deserve a little bit more respect than what he has been getting off certain parts of the media as well, to be totally honest. Do I like his football? No, I don't. I think it's horrible. But you can't argue that we're in the semi-finals of a tournament. You look at Germany, who've played some wonderful football in this tournament, are out. So it kind of... Are the French media going just as bad on with the French, who have been just as awful as us? And I don't think they are. That's
they can't stand it at the moment. The French.
No, there we go.
Yeah. There's a similar thing to England, very similar actually, because they just had an election too, so they're in the exact same boat.
Yeah, and their best player.
But no, I get what you mean. I think he is. I think people can go overboard. I think it's just if he wins it, no one says anything. But he's kind of his own enemy in that he's in charge of the team that's getting very close. But people are looking at it going, well, that team should have won by now because they've obviously got the ability to go that far, and you're the one holding them back from actually winning. So I think that's where it's hurting, as opposed to people looking at it going, he's getting them to the semi-final. It's like you're looking at a team and going, well, it's no wonder they get to the semi-final when they're beating Slovenia and Switzerland.
It's because of the performances. The performances are bad. It's the players' individual quality doing things that aren't on the script of the because you can tell that they're not doing his tactics when they score, when they win games. Those are always things that are out unless he says to them, be fucking awful for ages, but wait, we're going to save ourselves a one pivotal moment and then score a goal and look really, really good for 5 minutes. Then we'll go back to being shit again. I've never seen, I mean, Ben's involved intimately with football teams. Maybe that's something that happens on the training field. A manager goes, right then, come in, lads. You're going to be fucking dreadful for like ages now, right?
Can I just flip it on its axis a little bit, Josh? Say on Wednesday, we go out and play all attacking football, which we all know these players can do, and lose.
I think he'll get a lot of praise.
What's the media? The media going to be like, well, we're out.
I think people will generally would be proud of that team for going out by actually giving it a go. I think that's the element. Is like, well, you're not winning. You're playing bad football and not winning. You play good football and don't win. Yeah. People will prefer that than the second. So the problem is if he completely changes it around, it's just going to fall in his ass because it's one of the things where it's hindsight, but it's because he's had this team for so long and you haven't figured out a way to get the best out of these attacking players who all play in possession dominant. All the best players play in possession dominant teams. Yeah. So when people say he's a pragmatic coach and that's how England should play, it's like, well, yeah, when you had players who played in pragmatic 4-4-2 systems, Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka, Foden, Bellingham, Declan Rice, Kyle Walker, John Stones. Who else we got in that team? The majority of players in that first 11, outside of Mark Gahey and you can even say Kieran Trippier at Newcastle, play in possession dominant teams who are attacking focused and like to have the ball and like to press and keep the ball in the opponent's half. So how do you look at that and then go, well, actually, let's play a system where they don't have the ball? That's where I think it kind of goes confusing. But if he wins it, everyone's going to, the apologies are going to go all the way around if he does it. And I think they have a very good chance to do it because France, I've just got a feeling, are going to find a way through, even though Spain, considering they beat Germany as well, there's an element of that. You just feel with that Spanish team that they can lose at any point. But the fact they beat Germany, I thought they were out when he made all those subs and the Germans had the momentum and they scored. I was like, you know what? Spain might have enough in this to actually, they have been the best team. But if France managed to do it, it just sets it up for France to go. And I don't think England beat France or Spain playing the way they have.
Yeah, I think France will get in the final. I do think France will get in the final. I just want to like kind of look at Simon's comment there. Like say, I'd prefer that answer. You'd prefer to lose. That I just can't get that mindset out of my head. I would rather played football for years.
He might mean the latter one, but the only thing I was going to say of Southgate is why he gets a lot of shit is if you go back to, it's a bit harsh, but you could say at each point when England have lost in the last 3 major tournaments he's been in charge, it was due to him. A change he's made or a change he hasn't made. So Croatia, for example, we went 1 up. And to be honest, I'm going to put a lot on Harry Kane as well. I'm going to say Harry should have passed to Sterling, mate, and you should have not sent that penalty to Moon against France. So those are the 2 ones. But we went 1 up against Croatia, we sat back. We went 1-0 up against Italy, we sat back. France, we had the momentum. We had France on the back foot for the first team to do that in the entire tournament. He takes off Bukayo Saka, who was one of our most attacking players and was causing their left back an absolute headache. And then when Kane misses the penalty, a manager who's in Clue goes, okay, right, that's gonna give the team a bit of a downer. But like after doing that, I need to inject some energy into this team. Why don't I bring on our top goal scorer, Marcus Rashford, right now? And he goes, no, I wait until there's less than 10 minutes. And then throw on the guy who scored the most goals for us in this tournament when we need a goal, who can't even has enough. So I think that's where he doesn't do himself any favors, is because there are changes he should have made or shouldn't have made when we're in those positions.
Do you think, Lucas, that he doesn't trust the like he's had obviously Rashford and Grealish, who he hasn't took, who I think would have been on if that had been Rashford in the squad, he'd have been on in say the 60th minute, like on Saturday. Yeah. But the fact he's got, you know, like Palmer, Gordon, who he probably hasn't seen that much of, especially playing for England, he hasn't had that many caps. You think?
But he should have though. He should have seen, and that's my problem with it. He is a bad manager. The thing, what he's done, he's set the team up very bog standard, and that's a really good team, and they will always play really well because they're a really good team. And like Lucas said, it's him when he is impacting the game. That is when it falls apart. When he's leaving it alone and the players are playing, they will hold the game and they'll do what they'll do and they'll win things because they're a good team. It hurts me. Can I just say this as well? Hurts me to praise England because I don't want to, because I get so much grief when England do well as a Welshman. It's unreal. So this is me being very honest.
But you're a fan of football. You want to see good footballers play.
I want to see them play well. And what does my head in is I find it so difficult that as a manager, he's never had a good style of play. He's incompatible with those players that you have, which isn't his fault. It's not his fault that he is who he is. He is who he is. It's a little bit like you do in the season when I was saying to like with Arsenal, you've got to bear with Arteta because he's a new manager. He's going to learn on the job, and you have to accept the fact that Southgate isn't good. He's never been anywhere where he's been a good manager. He isn't. So it's not his fault. This is who he is. The fault sits with the FA in not appointing somebody that suits that team, because that England team, all you need is to do the things that Southgate does well, which is bring the players together and get all the teams, all the players together when they create that good atmosphere. But then you need somebody then that can just set them up and let them play to their strengths, because it's quite an easiest job, really.
You need Ancelotti style managers. And it's one or the other. You go back and see every last team. Oh my God. You go back and you see, like, in my entire lifetime, every single team that has won a World Cup or a Euros has had either a style of play or they've been set up to get the best out of their best player, or both. Look at the World Cup. That manager, does anyone know the manager for Argentina at the last World Cup or where he came from? They bonked some random bloke off the flight from Argentina to Qatar and was like, do you want to come and manage Argentina for us? Like, nobody knew he was. He wasn't Pep Guardiola. Like, he's not. But what he had was he went into that team and he went, right, we've got the best player in the world and arguably the best player of all time. How do I set up this team so he can win this tournament for us? Because he has the ability to do it. And that's where you saw it. He had Lautaro Martinez next to Messi for 2 games and realized Lautaro Martinez was absolutely shitting the bed. So what does he do? He brings on Alvarez, who suddenly unleashes Lionel Messi to another level. The entire midfield was set up with a load of runners and absolute nutters to kick the ball and get it to Messi as soon as possible. And it worked. And it's like Spain and Germany have a style of play. They have a style of play. It's set in the way that they play. Netherlands as well. France are an interesting one because they don't, but the team was set up. At least I generally think France's biggest miss is Paul Pogba in the last few tournaments. I generally think they are struggling to fill that void, and it's clear how they play. It's set up to get the best out of Mbappe, but they're struggling to do that, which is why France are so bad at the moment. They don't have a style of play, and they're not getting the best out of their best player, but they have enough talent to win the game. So if it comes down to talent versus talent, who is going to win between France and England if it comes down to that thing? Mbappe or Bellingham / who is going to ultimately do it? And you have to go with the French. And it's like, I just don't see a world in which we beat either France or Spain with what we've done so far. So Netherlands has to be a complete change, or it just doesn't work out. But it's going to be funny if we win it. We will be all ecstatic, but it's going to be hilarious when we win it. He actually does. If we win it, and he actually does. He
should do that. That's the thing that they are good enough to get there, and it's just the frustration will be.
But it's irrespective of Southgate.
It's not because of him, but the annoyance will be is if you don't, because you could have, and all you need is for him to do the right thing, get probably the best squad in the tournament collectively, just to play, let the players in right positions, 10 in a 10, right on the right, left on the left, tell your striker to be a striker. If he looks if he's too tired to play, take him off. Don't let him play anymore, because you've got good players. I mean, Ollie Watkins was on fire at the end, and like Lucas was saying, Tony's playing like something to prove, and I just love the attitude that he's got as well. I mean, that no-look penalty. What
a joke.
I can honestly say that is a very, very hard thing to do. Doing that no-look punt, because I tried all day on Sunday to do that down the park with my nephew and managed to do it once. Out of about 100 goals.
It's nuts, isn't
I
it?
fell over 6 times.
Yeah.
Well, that was class.
That's a great comment, because honestly, England-France final is, I hate to say it, but it is the worst possible outcome this Euros could have had based on those teams playing. For football, it is the worst out. If France managed to win a Euros not scoring an open play goal, it's the worst major international victory I've ever seen in my lifetime. And they could possibly still do it. I mean, getting to a semi-final not scoring an open play goal is absolutely nuts. Like, it's just ridiculous. We've gone to 2 extra times against Switzerland and Slovenia. Like, it's going to be Spain, Turkey would have been a better one. Like, honestly, like a nice underdog, or an Austria would have been nice. But yeah.
Okay,
well, I mean,
look at it from my perspective, that when Portugal won it in 2016, I don't think they won a game. I think was it in 90 minutes, and they weren't a good side, really.
They weren't good. No.
It was a bit similar, because France, it was all for them to win the tournament. It was their home tournament, and like everyone assumed they could win the game comfortably. And obviously, Eder puts up, that banger with 10 minutes to go of extra time, and everyone's looking at, will think, how the hell have Portugal done it? So that's the thing. It's like it does happen, and I generally did believe that this might be a year where maybe one of the lesser teams might do it, because with Austria were on fire in the group stage, and obviously it was a bit of a shock to see them go out. But then, having watched Turkey, you'd thought, actually, they're not a bad side either. They've got some good individual players, and they're, like I say, they've got an identity about them. They've got a style of play that works for them. It's been so effective for them in this tournament. And again, this is the thing. I said this even with the games before we came out to the Euros. We just don't look like we have an identity about how we want to play. It's like, is it a case of, look, try and break us down? We're going to make it for Spain. We're going to make, like say, Josh, that one moment of quality. Is that what we're going to be relying on this whole tournament? It's like, it does work, because obviously it's been proven so far, but it's a case of, look, we've got to do it 2 more times, but against now really what we call world-class teams. I mean, Netherlands have got some players that have, won Champions Leagues, and, they're doing well in their respective leagues. And then if you go and manage to do that, you got to beat, a France or a Spain. And they're 2 teams that, I mean, obviously Spain has been the team of the tournament for me. France, obviously, you just do see on their day, on the big occasions, they will rise to it. They always have done. Even the World Cup final last time, the fact they could have easily fallen at 2-0 down. They came back to the game and then nearly won it themselves, had it not been for an amazing Martinez save. Like, it's strange how it all works. I always say, I always remember then going back to sort of, your National Leagues now. I always remember a quote Mark White said, like after they lost the league title to Maidstone. And he always said, look, you don't have to be the best team to win, best team to win a league or a cup. You've just got to win your matches. And that's the thing. Like, I've never said you'd have to be the best team to win. If we do win this tournament by playing the way we do, then no one's going to remember about how well we played. Everyone will look at winning the title and think England won it. So that's the way we look at it. I mean, he will be a hero of Southgate if he does pull it off. But again,
he'd be knighted, wouldn't he?
Definitely. He'll get a statue outside Wembley or something.
And also Harry Kane as well, probably for a man that hasn't played well. We'll get Sir Harry Kane afterwards.
Which to be fair, he deserves the praise if we do it. Like, if you're still the manager, like, we can give you shit for not getting it done. We've got to give you praise for getting it done, even if it was in your own way and no one could see it. But it's one of those ones where we're yet to. But yeah, you never know the way things are playing at the moment. You never know. I just think if Spain do go through, there's no way they lose to us. France, I think, is the one we want. We want France to kind of just do what they've been doing, like stink it out big against Spain, get like a counter and go through. I just think Spain beating Germany and France, like how do the England go and beat that team? Like, or how does Spain go and beat those 2 teams and then lose to this England side? Like, that rarely happens, but it could happen. It could.
You know what? I'd love to see it. As in, like, Spain get there, and then Southgate all of a sudden goes, "You know what? We're gonna play some
unleash
football,
them,
boys. Yeah, unleash the hound."
I'd be interested to see actually who, if anyone's beaten the favourites in the tournament and then lost in the final. I wonder. I'd actually love to see. I wonder what's the best way to see that actually in the last few months. Like, even with Portugal in 2016, I can't remember who they knocked out to get to the final versus France, but Ronaldo was pretty good for them. And again, when you got one of the best players in the world, you're going to be up there. They're going to find a way to win or anything like that. And that's when Ronaldo was actually pretty good for Portugal. But yeah, I'd be interested to see like who, if someone beats like you knock out an Argentina or a Spain and then you go to the final, do they lose? Does that happen?
Oh, that'd be a waste of
My
time.
only worry is the fact that we've had 2 lots of extra time now, and this is the
They're
thing about Croatia. Obviously when they got to the final, albeit I thought they gave a fairly good count themselves in the final. You could tell towards the end they looked absolutely knackered because, that's.
Yeah.
But then again, it does work both ways. The fact they played 3 lots of extra time, obviously when they beat us, and obviously we were fuming because we thought, look, that we should be the ones having the extra energy here, not them.
Yeah.
And that is my only worry. The fact that if we do win, win on Wednesday, it's got to be done in the 90 minutes. I've just got that bad feeling that the players obviously that have been playing, it's been a very settled side, with maybe one change obviously for an odd suspension. It hasn't really changed, and obviously some of the players have played about half an hour's worth, and again it's like to be freshening it up a little bit earlier to try and rest some of those players, because they will get to a point where they'll just knacker themselves out. And a game of this importance at a high intensity, in front of millions of people watching, it must mentally as well, it must affect him. So that is the only worry. Southgate, can he get the best out of him? It's about how he manages the players the next couple of days before we play Netherlands. So we'll be interested to see how he does that.
That's a very good point, actually, is the fatigue. And you could tell in the last one, Bellingham in particular was one. Saka's played a lot. Like these guys have played a lot of football. Bellingham was carrying Madrid for 3 months, on his first move, and then played pretty much every game for the rest, all the way up to the Champions League final, and then starting for England. That's a very good point, because all those teams that we're coming up against, again, I think France is the only one, but Spain and Netherlands, maybe not. But Spain rotated their entire first 11, or pretty much, once this tournament. They've also rotated quite heavily. They've also rested, taken Yamal off at the 60th minute, whether that's to do with the laws around his age and things like that. But a lot of those guys are rotating with that in mind. And Spain are going to be fresh for this France game. France haven't been playing a style of football which requires a lot of running, but we have. So that's another one. It's like we're definitely the most fatigued. And you're right. If we go to 120 minutes against Netherlands, again, with that same first 11, these guys are going to be beaten up for that final. And, coming up against some of these players, like, it's not a good situation to be in. You're right. That game has to end in 90 minutes. We have to beat them in 90 minutes. And Netherlands, again, they're not a team who sits back. The Netherlands want the ball and they play a very high intensity. And people laugh them. They're not a great side. Ronald Koeman, I think, is a very underappreciated manager. If you remember back in Southampton, he was playing some really good football. Barcelona was the wrong club, and you can see how much of a mess they are at the moment, with or without Koeman. And when you've got to manage Messi, it's pretty difficult to play a style of football that you want to do when you've got the best player in the world. Just go for Messi. But they play some impressive football. I just think they haven't got the players. I think their squad is really poor. I mean, people talk about Brazil's dropping quality, but Netherlands is one that gets away with it. I mean, 20 years ago, like Bergkamp, Kluivert, Van Nistelrooy, like Van Persie, Edgar David, Seedorf, and now you got like Steven Bergwijn, Gakpo. The drop is insane. Weghorst, yeah. But they have a style, and again, they've got some. I can't remember who mentioned it, but Champions League win. Like, got Van Dijk as the captain, and he knows a lot of our players. He knows a lot of the way that we play as well. A lot of them have played in the Premier League. They've also got the Golden Boot, the guy who's currently on the frisk of the Golden Boot. He should have been given that goal. I don't know if they've reversed it, but he should be on 4 goals, Gakpo. So they've got someone who's scoring goals freely, and they're going to play at high intensity. So that's an interesting game, because I do think Switzerland were the better one. But again, you saw the quality after that second half in terms of just that Swiss side. Like, they've been playing good football, but man for man, those players are not better than England's players, and it just showed. And Netherlands is a similar situation, but I think their brand is a bit trickier for us to deal with. And again, they also play a back 5. So it's not like we can just counter it when they've got 3 centre backs. And they went down against Turkey and they brought it back. They brought it back relatively comfortably as well. They didn't panic at any point. They've always looked like they can score, but it's just the quality that's letting them down. But I'm really looking forward to those 2 games. Like, regardless of who wins, the next 2, there's got to be something in those 2.
Yeah.
Well, as the man who was there, I mean, Ben, firsthand, how are the Netherlands looking in their 2-1 victory over Turkey?
See, again, I didn't think they did anything special. I generally thought the better team lost. I really do. I think Turkey, gave such a good account of themselves, and they deserved to take the lead. I think in that first half, Netherlands were not in it at all, and Turkey did what they needed to do. They were, putting tackles everywhere. They were just making it hard to play against them, just trying to stop them getting any sort of rhythm. I think the big change at halftime being Weghorst on, made a massive difference for them. And I think everyone's going to probably forget the fact that he made an important tackle. He did, 1-0 down to stop them going 2-0 up. And that would have been game over for them. And then they go up the other end. Devine gets the equaliser, which again is probably a moment where Turkey will regret it, because it was like, a set piece, which they've been fairly good at defending them. And yeah, unfortunately, they just completely lost him. And then Netherlands get their vibe and everything like that, and like the fans and everything like that. Their fans were absolutely incredible. They were, they really got behind them. They're bouncing. It felt like the momentum had shifted quite a bit. And then obviously not long after, Gakpo slides in the second goal and gives them something to hold on to. But massive fair credit to Turkey, because they could have easily, folded up and said, well, we've got to this stage, we should be proud of that. But they kept coming back, and if it hadn't been for a couple of really good saves, they could have easily taken it to extra time. And that's the thing that makes me a bit more confident about Wednesday. The fact that Turkey, let's be honest, they've got a couple of half decent players in there, but I think they're more a good team rather than relying on individuals. And I think looking at Netherlands' quality, we can hurt them defensively. There were moments in that game where I'm thinking, if we get into those sort of situations, I'd expect us to score. So it's like, it is going to be an interesting one. But I have to say, from first hand of being at a game like that, the fan base, the amount of Netherlands fans all coming down. I don't think there's anyone left now in Holland. I don't think, having seen all the amount of orange that was walking through the streets of Berlin. It was absolutely incredible. And even the Turkey fans, I never actually realised how big the Turkish community was out in Germany, and everywhere you go and beeping horns, the flags are out everywhere, and it was an incredible atmosphere, and one I've never experienced myself, really, because I've only done a couple of international games, and one of them being in England, but seeing like two very big sort of national teams going up against each other in such an iconic venue, like it was an incredible experience. And that was probably actually the quickest 90 minutes I think I've ever watched, because it felt like, because it was that good of a game, I thought, that it just went by so quickly. And I think Turkey had to take so much credit from that. I think they really should be feeling proud of themselves, and I think their supporters really did appreciate it. But I think, if Netherlands play the way they did in that first half against us, if we can just go for it early on, there's no reason why we can't, get at least a goal, possibly two up, to try and make it a bit more comfortable ourselves. But in the semi-final, it's so much different, because it's going to be cagey as far as But Netherlands got the job done, which they needed to. And it's going to be an interesting semi-final now.
I mean, I was going to ask you if somebody was there. I mean, first of all, as I think most of our shows do reference it each week, if you were one of the fans making ridiculous chants out there and embarrassing yourself, your country, your family, your mums, your dads, your uncles, everybody is embarrassed of you because you're a dick. So don't do it. Don't be a dick. There's nothing good about it, and it's everywhere. It's plastered everywhere. People will see it. You're a dick. You're an embarrassment. Don't do it. Are they just are they in fact a small minority? Or how are the sort of fans conducting themselves on the whole from what you saw?
I thought the fans were exceptional, to be fair. Even from being in the fan zone for the games on the Friday night with Germany and that, I thought, to be fair, when Spain scored, there was a fair few Spain fans, and I thought it could have maybe turned ugly because, in fan zones there's no segregation. But I thought the fan base were brilliant. The only problem I had was, obviously, you had the hardcore of Netherlands fans one end, and then hardcore of Turkey in the other. And then the rest of the stadium is sort of mixed in between Turkey and Dutch fans. And at times it probably did get, had the potential to get a little bit ugly, especially when Netherlands went 2-1 ahead. There were a couple of few arguments down nearby where I was. But again, I think it all sort of faded out fairly quickly. But I think obviously there have been a few bad representations. I think it's is it Croatian fans that have been, I think, the most not well behaved out of all the teams so far. Obviously they're not there anymore, so obviously they've all gone. But I think the support bases are so. It was good banter between the Netherlands and Turkey fans, even the England fans that were watching the game. The ones I was with, they were behaved absolutely exceptionally. I think, to be fair, I think the representation, maybe the fan behaviour has probably been a little bit unjust at times. But I think the way they've done it so far, I mean, obviously the police has been very good as well, I think, from the Germans. So I've had absolutely no complaints. I didn't come back with a bruised head or anything like that, or any bottles been thrown at me. So it was all done in good spirits, even after the game. And that, you got supporters shaking hands with each other. It was a great atmosphere, and I think that needs to be written about in the media, not all the negativity that it's been getting.
No. So the small minority, don't be a dick. Just stop it. Just stop being an embarrassment. Go home and don't come out again, preferably. Okay, we see the Dutch fans dressed up as just don't stop oil. Don't stop oil, just stop oil. Did you see as well? There's a guy who's gone on a stag do, and all of his friends have made him wear a Just Stop Oil t-shirt. He keeps getting stopped by the police. There's a video somewhere, like every time he walks in, he's getting stopped because they think he's a protester. Marvelous. But I mean, what did you sit in? Where were you sitting in the game?
So I was on the opposite side to where the cameras were and everything. It was sort of quite close to the back. So obviously, but I had a fairly good view of, both the fan bases and everything. So I was in amongst, I had a couple of Turkey fans in front of me. It kept jumping up every time they got forward. I did have to sort of chat to them, like, lads, we paid a lot of money for this. Can you if they're in on goal and that, and they've scored, I fully expect them to go absolutely mental in that. But at times they were just getting in our way a little bit. But, the view itself, I mean, it was the first time I'd been to watch a game abroad as well. So in terms of experience like that for myself, that was incredible, and certainly one I won't forget. It's such an iconic venue, the Berlin Olympic Stadium. I mean, whoever gets to the final, it's going to be one hell of a day out. That is, just even the build up towards the game. I mean, even seeing all the fans and that, there were so many Turkey and Dutch fans, all with their signs, like anyone got spare tickets and that. I mean, I had that experience when I went to the semi-final with England and Denmark, but this was on a new level. And I'm just like, obviously that's the thing. When you see that, you do have to feel a little bit privileged to be in there, because there's so many supporters in their own country that would love to have been in there. So you have to make the most of it. And you think, look, sitting in there, I was so, privileged to be watching a game of a quarterfinal of a major tournament, between two very, big sides. And that's the thing. It's, it's incredible. So yeah, no, I've got nothing but good things to say about the stadium and the atmosphere as a whole down there.
I was going to ask a question of Ant next, but I've just noticed it's your Christmas tree behind you.
No, it's just in the box. Cheltenham scored.
Are you ready? Are you?
No, it's just in the box.
Well, there we are. Always be prepared, and always prepared for Christmas.
Exactly.
We'll have it out into action. I guess. I mean, the other lads have spoken about their concerns or what their feelings of the Netherlands. What do you feel? Do you think the Netherlands are there for a team that England can beat, or do you think you're going to struggle against the technical setup that they've got?
Well, watching them through the Euros, to be honest, there's nothing really much that I'm that fearful of, because I think they've been just as poor as us. And I agree with Ben. I thought the best team lost on Saturday. I thought Turkey were outstanding, and if it wasn't for I think Weghorst put in a great tackle, and they should have equalised later on. I think it might have been was it Van der Midden, this Tottenham centre half, who made a really, really good clearance off the line. I think it was, and where that was a really, really good opportunity, and one of them goes in. I think if that had gone extra time, Turkey would have won, because they would have had the momentum. But the Dutch are quite similar. They're finding ways of winning, which doesn't really beset them as as like a side. Really, they've got Gakpo, and Gakpo has been. He's got the most goals in the tournament so far. I agree with what Lucas said before. That how that second goal hasn't been given to him is beyond us, to be honest. Because he gets a touch, doesn't he? So really, that should be his goal. And I'm glad for him, because I don't think we've seen the best of him at Liverpool yet. I don't think he's quite fitted in brilliantly at Liverpool, but he had a really good World Cup, didn't he, a few years ago, the last World Cup. So I think on paper, you look at our team is probably better than them. But also as well, I think this is going to be the first time in the competition where we're going to come across a side who are going to attack us. So I think that's going to be, a bit. You probably see a bit different side of us as well, where we will be able to get round the back and get through them easier than what we have against Switzerland and Slovakia, who were there really to to stand us up and try and sneak a goal on the counter attack in the second half. So yeah, I think we'll be all right. I honestly think we'll win quite convincingly. But the Dutch, I think it was Lucas who said it before, how great they were 20 years ago, and look at them now. It's
a fall from grace, isn't it?
Yeah, and when you look at us now, we've got arguably the best squad on paper in the tournament. Really, there's got to be a time where we kind of shackle it off really, and I think this could be the game on Wednesday, to be honest.
I hope so. I mean, I was out in Germany myself this week. I mean, Kevin's asking, I was a 2% beer, Was it 2%? I was in a different part of Germany. I'll tell you this for free. It wasn't 2% beer.
I think she's missed a zero off that. Is it 20%?
I didn't really go near the beer, to be honest. I was more in the Aperol Spritz the whole time. I couldn't go near the beer because I thought if I have one and that's going to do me in, and I'll be on the floor in the middle of the fan zone. So I stay fully away from that, to be honest.
You know, I was in Dresden. I was in Dresden this week, and I had a local whiskey called like Holland, and that was really nice. But no, I didn't see any 2% beers anywhere. So I was obviously in the better part of Germany where there was no football, and they didn't want to limit anybody. So it was wild. So I think we go around. We'll have a quick prediction from everybody. I'm going to hold you to scores. We're going to talk about it, and then if it doesn't happen, you know, I will embarrass you about it later, and I'll give you lots of accountability. But I mean, Lucas, England, Netherlands. What's your score prediction?
1-1 England to win on penalties.
Ugh. So Lucas has predicted a horrible game. Ben, what's your feeling?
I'm a bit similar to Lucas, to be fair. I mean, I'm not going back on what I said, obviously, about us being maybe fatigued, obviously having played lots of extra time, but I do see it's been very cagey semi-final between two, what's technically really been poor sides in this tournament, I would say. So I think I'd go for a 0-0, but you know, we'll go for the optimism that we'll win on penalties again.
Oh, so far, I don't want to watch this game. Anthony, are you going to save it? Do you think it's going to be anything other than an ugly draw?
I've said 2-0 in nearly every game England have played this tournament, so I'm not going to go back on my word. So I'll go 2-0. There's no basis of it; just I went 2-0 all tournament. But I do think this is the one game where, if we are going to be more attack minded, then this is the game to do it. Because I think they'll come at us just as much as we'll go at them. So I'll go 2-0 England. I just think we're better than them.
I like it. I like the fact that I don't know if you noticed it earlier on. You said the only way we beat them is go around the back. And I'm thinking, go on, break into the map, man. So catch him if you can.
Doing the dance as well. If we do the side to side dance, if we end up winning, it's got to come out because I'm saying I've got to submit to that. As much as I enjoyed it, in my head I'm going, I really hope we stuff these on Wednesday. I really do. I can't afford to see that again. So. Yeah, hopefully there'll be a bit of that.
I think there's going to be goals, you know. I think there's going to be goals. I'm feeling it because, like I said, England haven't been playing especially well. Netherlands have been trying to play well, even though they haven't been. And there's chances. There's going to be chances in abundance. I don't think there's going to be a game that's going to finish like the last ones with like a shot and a half on target, you know. Well, we shall see, but I'm not going to make any predictions because I don't want to. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it. But before we sort of move on and conclude, I mean, Lucas, has there been any sort of standout for you on the other two games? And who you predicting England could meet in the final?
So I've got Spain in the work sweepstake.
Jammy bastard.
It was quite a lucky draw. I got 3 people at 2 teams. I got Spain and Georgia, which at the beginning I was like, for God's sake. But then after a while, I was like, you know what? Georgia aren't too bad when they got through in the end. And then, of course, they played Spain, thanks to my luck. So, yeah, Spain. If Spain do end up winning it, I will not be too disappointed. I don't know, man. I think Spain should do it. The fact that they beat Germany, they've been the best team. They beat the hosts, who were probably the next best team in terms of performances and ability. France are there's a Real Madrid element of France. I think and they're not losing, they're not conceding, but they're not scoring from open play, which is very concerning considering the players they have attacking. So I think Portugal, if they Martinez, he's another one. If he pulled his finger out and actually did something differently, Portugal could have probably taken that. Whereas, yeah,
he's the world's jammiest manager, isn't he, man?
He's just failing up, honestly. I've just got a bad feeling. I think Spain should do it, but I'm going to go with France. I think France are going to find a way. Yeah, I just think they just keep doing it, and
They're quite.
they're
I mean,
solid
when
at
you
the
look,
back. They are solid.
yeah,
They're not
I was going to
really-
say exactly the same thing. They're quite solid. I mean, even the midfield three that they've got, even like with Kande's legs going a little bit, they've got young, solid centre backs as well. And I do love Kunde at the right back, but that, I mean, Ben, France, Spain, who you feeling?
I think I just can't see past a Spain win. I think the win against Germany is a massive statement. The fact that there was a lot of expectation on Germany, and I think I've always said about Germany thinking this tournament, they're a bit like us. We were in 2018. No one's really expecting them to do well, but obviously they got to the last 8, and I think we was expecting Germany to probably go on and win it after they got their equaliser, like we were saying earlier about the amount of change they'd made. But Spain just had this way, like of finding that moment of quality. And they've got some, good young players coming through there, and they'll show no fear. And I think Lucas is right. I think I take his point about the fact that France do have that sort of Real Madrid sort of element about them because they just always perform on the big occasions, and that's the only thing that would probably hold me back on it. But I think on this occasion, I just think Spain are going to just have a little bit too much for them, just because of the way they've been playing, throughout this whole tournament. If they do, then fair play to them because they've been the great teams to watch in the tournament. They've played with no fear. They've played some great football at times, and like I said, that win will give them a massive boost now after beating Germany. And they'll probably think now this is our tournament to lose now because we've probably taken on the biggest challenge of the tournament, which is to knock out the host and the host that have been world champions only about a decade ago. So I do see nothing really more of a Spain win, but it will be very tight. I think it won't be very one-sided. I think it will be tight, but I think Spain will just come out on top.
I tell you what, I was wondering, do red cards carry over? Because Danny Carvajal was sent off.
He's banned.
Ooh, that'll be.
It was the yellow cards. I think
big
they carry
mess.
over now.
Yeah, but Morata is not. They rescinded that one, so Morata's able to play, but Carvajal's the miss. But I mean, Jesus Navas has had a pretty good season. He's still going strong, so it's not that they haven't got a replacement there. But yeah, it's tricky because that's Mbappe's side. But again, he's been awful the whole tournament. So
he's washed, mate. Mbappe's washed.
Only performs at World Cups. Literally only World Cups. Champions League,
even...
nope. Euros, nope.
That's it. I'll take wash, mate. Wash. Watch him at Real Madrid crash and bid. I mean, and France or Spain, where are you going?
I think it may be one game too far for Spain. I think you look at 2 or 4 years' time in the World Cup or the Euros, you've got to put them down as favourites with the players that got coming through. But I think this is just a game too far for them. And I think Carvajal will be a miss. Obviously, Pedri's out as well. I think he'll be a miss as well, even though almost come on and done fantastic for them. I just think France have just got this solidness that I don't think Spain will get through. So I'll go 1-0 France, probably a last-minute goal through the arse of somebody. But that's how lucky France have been, haven't it? But I'm just saying I can see France getting through and somehow winning the tournament, even though they haven't played well at all.
I was gonna say I can see France getting through, and then it being like the shittest final.
Oh, it'd be awful if it's England France.
I think France would win it, but it would be like the dirtiest game, and you would switching off and wanting to get drunk just so you don't have to endure it. I think it's going to be horrendous. But hopefully, for football's sake, come on, Spain. Viva España. We'll see. I'm not holding out any hope. But that concludes our show this evening. First of all, I mean, to everybody that has been viewing us, thank you very much. Very much appreciated for everyone in the chat. It was great to have you. And I think Kerry's the first time I've seen Kerry comment. If you have on other shows, I apologize for not noticing. But thank you for joining us. And Ben's lovely. What a lovely voice. You've had a podcast full of voices. I mean, Lucas is just silky smooth like butter. And Luke and Anthony's northern lilt. It's just blessed. What a blessed team we've had this evening. But please do follow the podcast on all the socials at Absolute Ball Pod on Twitter, at Absolute Football Podcast on YouTube and Twitch, and on the TikTok boom. It's at Absolute Football Pod, Instagram and Threads. Apparently, there still exists. It's there. We're not. Absolute Football Podcast _ and Facebook, the Absolute Football Podcast. And on Wednesdays, we typically have hashtag Team Chaos, Absolutely WSL, the women's team. I believe, though, they are changing the podcast. It's not going to be this Wednesday. I'm not sure what we've landed on because the conversation's been going on as we've been on the show. So I think Friday.
I think it's Friday, yeah.
It's going to be Friday night. You can join Team Chaos at 8:30, but they're normally on a Wednesday, talking all things WSL and women's football. And Thursdays is where you can catch the in tribute to Roy Hodgson, the Wowdy Wabble on Thursdays, which Ben partakes in, Anthony partakes in, and is hosted by the marvelous Charlotte. You want to catch that one, and most of you do. To be fair, you disregard the rest of us and all join in that one, and why the hell not? And if you are on audio platforms, please do give us 5 stars, follow us, tell your friends, tell your enemies, your next door neighbors. Shout it as you're walking down the street randomly. Spread the gospel story. And if you are on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button because it's totally free. And every time someone subscribes, an angel gets its wings, which is such a beautiful thing to see. And people, they want to get more of these guys. Obviously, Lucas, where can people find you?
Box Office Lucas on TikTok and Crab Dribble _ on TikTok.
And just make sure you follow him. He doesn't post many pictures, unfortunately, otherwise he'll be all over that. But
all videos. Yeah.
And Ben, obviously, people are going to want to be following you as well. Where are you? Where art thou? Obviously.
It's at Ben Stones FC1 on Twitter. So hopefully there won't be too many drunk tweets or something like that after Wednesday after I've had a few. So anyone wants to catch me that or anything Maidstone United related, then that's the place to find me.
Sensational. And occasionally I hear people like a bit of Anthony. Where can they find you?
Just very occasionally. I'm at Anthony _Waterson on Twitter. And also if you want to follow the only Sunderland Women dedicated fans Twitter space or podcast or whatever, we are at Howie Pod, which is underneath my name there. Which has been, we've got quite a few followers. So come and join us.
I'm glad you got dedicated in there because all I heard was Anthony's OnlyFans podcast is all I heard then. But that is something else. He's got a different handle for that. So
that's for feet only as well. So we'll leave that out.
So if you like Lord of the Rings and Hobbit trotters, you can check that out.
I'm your man.
But thank you everyone for listening in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, team, for being with us. Good luck, England, I suppose. Everybody have a very pleasant evening. And TGFN and ta-ta for now.